Hi everyone, and welcome to this first tutorial that we're going to do in the vGather platform. I'm going to be showing you around the organizer role inside the platform where we can basically go in and modify the existing spaces that we have in there as templates. I'm going to be showing you how you can rebrand and how you can add digital assets to the environment to personalize it to your liking and so that you can transmit the image of your brand or your organization or your personal brand. So let's go ahead and log in. Right, so the first thing is usually whenever we bring someone into the platform, a new user, usually that person is going to have a role assigned. Now there's the organizer role, there's the exhibitor role, and the delegate role. So one of this probably comes from a bit of the history of the company, which is vGather started as a virtual events platform, and then from all the features that we developed for the events, then the platform evolved into many other applications where it can be used, like for creating digital virtual stores or creating virtual showrooms or the virtual workplace, amongst many other different applications like education and so on that the platform can be used at because of all the features that it has. So some of the names inside the platform are still coming from that time where we were just in the events industry. So I thought I should clarify that before we move forwards. So the role of the organizer, that's where we edit the main hall. So these are the spaces where we're going to put most of our digital assets, where we're going to put all the branding. So if it was an event, for example, this would be the hall of the event. But if it's a virtual store, or it's virtual workplace, or it's for digital training, like having a virtual classroom, then in this case those would be the rooms that we'd be editing. Now the role of the exhibitor is mostly for those spaces. So for example, in the case of an exhibition, we may have some spaces allocated for stands inside that hall, and those spaces get allocated to other people. So the organizer can allocate those spaces to, for example, other organizations or so, and they can go in and interpret those spaces in order to create their own stands and their own branding. So let's go ahead and log into the organizer role. Now, normally this would be the page where a person that's been brought into the platform would arrive. Usually all the creation process of a new space or a new virtual experience will be done first by us, and then we're basically assigning the role to a newcomer to the platform, a new user. So I've already created here an exhibition, as we call it, still inside the platform, called tutorial 1. So we're going to go ahead and edit it. And the first thing that we're going to notice is that, so it's the name of that exhibition or that virtual experience, and a description and well, some of the features that this virtual experience is going to have. So for example, is it going to be open for registrations, or are we just going to have it so that people can just go in? So in this case, we've created it so that people can just go in without the need for registration. So that automatically generates a link that it's going to allow us. So this link is shareable, and it will allow people to just jump into the experience. We have this page here. So we have home, then we got into the tutorial 1 virtual experience, and we're now going to edit that experience. So we've selected a particular hall in this case, which is called the round hall. And this hall has stands, for example. So it has 23 empty stands. Here we can see the floor plan. So we're going to go here and edit that hall, and we're going to get some additional information about that hall. So here's where we go into editing the actual design of the hall. But before we jump there, we can see here all the different stands. Now all those stands are also here in the map of the virtual environment. And to each one of these stands, we can go in and basically assign a stand exhibitor. So this would be a person. If it's existing, we can choose among an existing person, or if it's a new person in the platform, then we just put all their details, and this will automatically generate the login credentials for that exhibitor to go in and edit that particular stand that you've assigned to them. So let's go back now and actually start editing the hall. So here we are in our virtual environment. Now, the navigation inside the virtual environment when we go in as an organizer is slightly different from when we go in as a visitor. The way it works here is we have to use, to move forwards and backwards, we have to use the W and S keys in the keyboard. And then to rotate, we can use our right mouse button. We just click and hold. And if we use a combination of the two, then we can roam around this room, and you can see that we can actually float in space, which would not be possible at the moment as a visitor. So any branding that you see here on the walls, which currently is ours, it's our branding, you can change. All of that we can rebrand, as well as adding additional digital assets. So we have some assets already in here. For example, we have that desk and we have this avatar in there. So let's have a look at how we can rebrand. So let's take that large image in the wall there. So the first thing you'll notice is that on the left side here, here's where we add digital assets. And on the right side, that's where we modify the attributes of those digital assets. So in this case, we're modifying the attributes of that digital asset, which is just an image on the wall. And just to change that image, all we have to do is really just, if we have existing images in our library, like here, we just click on that, go to Edit, and you'll see that the aspect ratio of that canvas is already there for us to crop the image, and we can also resize that if we want just a portion of that image, and click Done. And you'll see that now we have our image in the wall. Now, if we wanted to add a new image, we can just go here, select the name, change the name of the resource. You can add a description if you want, although that's not necessary. And then all we do is browse our folder. So in this case, I can just add a new image, open, and you'll see that the resource type here is image. We do add new, and that brings the image into our library. So let's wait for a moment, and there we go. And the image would be here. So if we go to edit, now we can add that image to the wall. So that's basically how every image here in the hall works. So even these, if we select those images, then we can select a portion of that picture, and there we go. Just hit escape, and then the attributes for that image will disappear. And that's basically how we modify the branding. Now, digital assets. So how do we insert digital assets? Well, just go into the left menu and here to click on plus. And we have all these different digital assets in our library. We have dynamic text, which is basically text that floats in the air. We have banners. We have brochure stands. We have desks. We have electronics, partitions. So you can see a little bit our history with events. Now this library, we're expanding it all the time, so we'll see future assets that can be used for many other different applications, as well as different environments that we're going to be putting in our platform as templates. Of course, there's always the possibility with several organizations like we did with Sony earlier in 2021, where we basically designed a space for them. The same we did with Planet Shine for Coptimism. We actually designed a bespoke space for them, and then they were able to add their own digital assets and have the exhibitors just change and the stands. So let's add some digital assets in here. Let's add some banners. We can just place them, and you can see that just by clicking and holding with your left mouse button, you can just move around the object and place it wherever you want. If you want to rotate it, you click on rotate. You rotate it, and once you're done, you click on rotate again. You can duplicate it. And then finally, if you want, you can also delete it. And the way we change or we add any sort of images to this banner is in exactly the same way as we've edited any of the other features. So we just click on an image, edit it, select what we're going to add, and that's it. It's done. Now, I wouldn't worry if the image looks a bit blurry. In the actual experience, it's going to look perfect. We'll see later when we go into the virtual experience as a visitor. So this is how we add some of the digital assets. We can ask, for example, we can add desks. Set this one, and we can change the colors here. It's one of the attributes we can change. To reflect the color of our branding. And then we have the more exciting part of digital assets, which is adding electronics. So let's go first with tablets. Now with tablets, we can also, so the same controls apply. You can rotate them, you can duplicate them, you can delete them, you can move them around. You can add an image to that tablet. In this case, we're going to add my picture. And then we can also here edit the type of interaction that we want to use that tablet for. So that can either be add to goodie bag. So that's whenever we have any downloadable content that we want our visitors to be able to have. So that would basically add it to something called the goodie bag, which is in the experience as a visitor. But the most common use for tablets is the URL. So that just basically means we enter a URL here. So for example, in this case, if we go to vgather.com and we copy that URL, we paste it here. Whenever we click on that tablet, it's going to take us to that URL. Now we can define the type of interaction. It can be click or by proximity. In this case, we probably should use click. And then we can select the type of message that's going to be floating on top of that pad in order to instate you to click on it. So we can say click here, for example, or you can name it as the Gather website if you want as well. And once that's done, that's it. Now, we can also add video through the electronic devices that we have inside the platform. So in this case, let's put a TV. We can rotate it as well. And then adding the video is just the same as a picture. You'll see the resource type here just says video. Then you define resource name, you browse for the video, and it'll be uploaded in the same manner. I'm not going to do it now because it takes a little bit longer, but I have some videos in here in my library already, which I had uploaded into the platform. So I'm going to select either of this, really does the job. And then you'll see this little option here. That option allows you to delegate controls on the TV to the viewer, to the visitor. That means that they'll get 3 buttons here that they can choose, for example, to make the video full screen. They can turn off the sound and so on. So we're going to enable those controls in here. And that's pretty much it. So that's how we insert digital assets into the platform. And that's basically how you can edit an existing virtual environment inside the vGather platform. Now, the last step, which is very important, is you need to remember to save the experience. And then we can exit here. Now, just to test it, we're going to go into the same link that the platform generated for us before, and we're going to see how our virtual environment is looking at the moment with all the digital assets that we've put in it. Okay, so let's just paste that link here. And there we are. We're in the process of going into the experience. Just wait for it to load. So as you can see, there's no downloading any applications or whatsoever. This is just run on the web browser. So it's sometimes, depending on how fast your internet connection is, it might take a little bit longer. It might be a little bit shorter. So that'll be really dependent on that, and slightly as well on how fast the machine you have is. But the fact that it's based on that it's web browser based means practically any device that you have that has an internet connection will be able to go into the experience. So let's start exploring. Now, to sort of go into this experience, to start moving, just click anywhere on the screen, and now we can move in different ways. The first way is we can just click and hold the left mouse button and use it to walk around. So as you hold it, if you move forwards the mouse, then you'll move forwards. If you move the mouse backwards, then you'll move backwards. And then you just move to the sides to sort of direct yourself. The other way is pretty similar to how you would do it in the organizer mode, which is just by using the W, S, A, and D keys, and then also using the left mouse button just to adjust where you're looking to. So now that that's settled, let's have a look at all our digital assets. So here we have the TV. These are the controls that we allowed the delegates, in this case myself, to have. So I can mute. In this case, this video has no sound, but if it had sound, you'd be able to mute it here. You can do full screen, or you can restart the video. And then here we have the tablet that we had originally created. And as you can see, it says vGather website, which is what we defined in the tutorial. And if we just click on it, it opens our website. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it useful, and we look very much forward to working with you. Thank you very much.